Once again, I'm going to hit you guys with some crazy information. This took place a couple of weeks ago. It was called Operation Dead End. It was a gang bust and RICO indictment on 12 Nortenos from Salinas Acosta Plaza. This Norteno has been cracked down multiple times since 2009 for multiple murders, attempted murders, robberies, and so forth. One of the robberies is they robbed a juvenile delinquent for a gold chain and a cell phone. In this indictment, they robbed a Mexican street vendor for over $200. Couple of murders on some southsiders, couple of murders on some dropouts. But what's crazy is that one of the attempted murders was on a southsider. A southsider got shot in the face and the shoulder. But a bullet ricocheted, went through the wall, hit the neighbor who happened to be a woman, and hit her in her spine, and now she's paralyzed. That's crazy how these Nortenos really conduct themselves, right? Because they won't get deemed no good because it's okay to kill and hurt women. They won't get deemed no good because now they've lowered their standards and their morality because it is the gang culture. So do they really have any? To hurt and take the lives of kids and infants and minors. They don't care about none of that. A woman living next door is now paralyzed for the rest of her life because she lived next to a gang war of a bunch of idiots who have nothing better to do than to kill for people in prison. But let's talk about this right here, since these Nortenos were sanctioned to start taking out dropouts. This guy used to be from Salinas Acosta Plaza. That was his neighborhood. He went to prison for the gang, came home, and told his neighborhood he didn't want to be a part of the life. And guess what? Instead of being a burden to his family, he tried to get his life together, but he was living on the streets. He was homeless in a tent. But he was set up by a woman who I can't show her face because she's not part of the investigation as of yet. But when she does, I will. A woman identified and located where he was at and told these Acosta Plaza Nortenos where to go. And they gunned down an individual who was homeless, living in a tent, who wasn't a threat, who stepped away from the life, who was scraping for dignity every day, but he chose to struggle over savagery. And these individuals, these Nortenos, are that much of lowlifes that they took a man's life because he was living in a tent, but he chose to live in a tent instead of being part of the gang life. The full video will be on Renegade Media on YouTube soon.